They rise out of our nightmares and into our world. Demons since the dawn of time, they have stalked us through the shadows, lurking on the fringes of our consciousness. Dreams twisted by our imaginations, dance dangerously close to reality. But could they be more than mere phantom? Could they actually exist across the globe? A daring band of explorers has embarked on an extraordinary mission. To uncover proof that these enigmatic creatures might be living among us, their quest will take them to the very edge of darkness and beyond, into realms where fear intertwines with fascination. I firmly believe there is something out there, something primal, a biological creature lurking in the unseen corners of our world. For as long as we have walked this earth, we have filled the gaps of the unknown with our nightmares, our monsters. From the deepest jungles to the uncharted depths of the sea, wherever there lies an enigma, we conjure beings of dread. You might think it ludicrous to consider that a demon could be hiding just 2 hours south of New York City. Yet if you dare to venture into the dark, murky swamps of New Jersey's Pine Barrens, you may just encounter a winged creature of the night. The Jersey Devil, its legend calls to those who seek the truth beneath the surface of everyday life, whispering tales that blur the line between myth and reality. The legend of the Jersey Devil has woven itself into the fabric of this land, enduring through the ages. Locals dare not roam the woods by night, for the shadows hold terrifying secrets. Tales are whispered of the Jersey Devil, a malevolent entity rumored to prey upon farm animals and even innocent children, instilling a primal fear that grips the heart of those who hear its name. For more than 2 centuries, the Jersey Devil has haunted the residents of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, a specter that looms larger with every retelling. Today, its image is emblazoned in every corner of popular culture, from the dimly lit bars that line the streets to the jerseys of the local hockey team. It is an unsettling, but undeniable, cultural icon. The Pineys, descendants of the area's original settlers, still resiliently dwelling in the remote woodlands, attest to chilling encounters. Every year, they recount sightings, fueled by an unwavering conviction that the demon still prowls these haunted forests, as terrifying and elusive as ever. The depth of fear and reverence they feel only adds to the mystery, transforming every rustle in the underbrush into the sound of impending dread. I saw this thing moving across the top of the bushes, and the only way I can describe it is that it was like the silhouette of a galloping horse, frenzied and alive. But the sound, it was like a woman screaming, but infinitely more intense. Picture the loudest scream you've ever heard, then amplify it. Maybe 10 times, maybe even 15 times louder. It would jolt you awake from a dead sleep, and then it would scream bloody murder, a visceral wail that sliced through the night like a knife light, and telling you had to hear it to grasp just how deafening it could be. The very essence of terror echoed in that inhuman shriek, resonating deep within your bones, leaving you breathless and wide-eyed. It's a sound that clings to your memory, a harrowing reminder that some legends may carry a truth far darker than we dare to imagine. Stories trace back through the centuries, echoing through the very earth of these woods. Native Americans spoke of the horned one that prowled the barrens, casting an ominous shadow over their tales. Yet, the most infamous legend ignited in 1735 was the affluent Leeds family. It is said that Mother Leeds, overwhelmed by her brood of 12, lamented her fate with a harrowing exclamation, "This one be a devil." Her cry rang through the night as the child was born, not as flesh and blood, but as a shrieking demon, grotesque and unnerving, armed with a horse's head, cloven hooves, and monstrous wings. The horror only deepens in whispers. Some claim that the devil turned on its parents, consuming them in a fit of rage, and now haunts the Pine Barrens, peering through the dense foliage. Its presence felt as a chilling specter haunting these dark woods through the ages. Even today, devoted believers tirelessly pursue the phantom, their relentless quest fueled by a mix of fear and fascination, determined to uncover the truth behind this enduring enigma. During my shift, you were the first to respond to an emergency call, a frantic plea for help from someone struggling to breathe. In southern New Jersey, the local emergency response team is unparalleled, driven by an unusual passion that sets them apart. Each day, they don their uniforms to save lives, Yet, in the fleeting moments of downtime, they trade the savior's role for the hunters, chasing the elusive beasts of local legend. It's a 10-hour shift, and sometimes the weight of it all can be rough. This is one of those jobs where you are never off duty, where the pulse of urgency courses through your veins. It's a relentless driving force, an instinct that keeps you ever vigilant. 24/7, you're always on alert, your senses honed for the unexpected, ready to leap into action at a moment's notice. Each encounter, whether a life-threatening emergency or a brush with the supernatural, blurs the line between reality and the tales that haunt the edges of their world. And you can't help but wonder what might be lurking just beyond the light. To be a devil hunter, you must be at least 18. But if you have parental permission, we make exceptions. In truth, it's not just about age, it's about maturity and mental fortitude. We operate with two distinct categories of hunters now, meticulously vetting each candidate through a rigorous interview process. You see, we once made the mistake of taking someone out into the woods who turned out to be a bit unhinged, and that experience taught us a hard lesson. We weren't going to take such risks again. I don't want to be stranded in the middle of nowhere, anxiety gnawing at me as I worry about the person accompanying me and what they might be capable of. It's vital to feel safe out there, especially when you're navigating the unknown, while we may be branded as hunters. Our true purpose isn't to hunt down these creatures with weapons drawn. We're simply out there to research, to uncover the truth behind the legends. If we ever encountered the Jersey Devil, we certainly wouldn't charge at it with the intent to stab it to death. That would be foolish. Our mission is one of discovery, not destruction, as we delve into the mysteries that have long haunted these woods. I dread the thought of finally encountering the Jersey Devil in all its terrifying glory, only to have someone in our group pull out a gun and shoot it before we can document its existence in its complete natural habitat. It sends chills down my spine to picture that moment of discovery shattered by an act of senseless violence. That's why we emphasize clarity in our mission. Everyone must know their role and intentions before we set foot in those haunting woods. Sean, Mike, and Laura have dedicated years to actively searching for this elusive monster, returning day after day to the Pine Barrens, driven by an insatiable curiosity that bubbles beneath the surface of this legend. The allure of the unknown tugs at their minds like an unyielding tide. How can anyone dismiss it as a hoax when so many have claimed to see it? How could all these witnesses, ordinary people, not pranksters or hoaxers, have experienced encounters that defy explanation? The weight of their stories hangs heavy in the air, compelling us to seek the truth behind the frightening myth that refuses to fade away. Each whisper of the wind and rustle of leaves heightens the tension, urging us forward into the heart of the mystery. Is it truly the 13th child of Mother Leeds? Or perhaps a biological creature lurking in the uncharted corners of our world, waiting to be discovered? What exactly is this enigma? The Jersey Devil holds an eerie distinction, being proclaimed the official state demon of New Jersey, a startling title when you consider that other states boast state birds, butterflies, and even fish. But New Jersey proudly claims a demon as its own. The Jersey Devil is a shapeshifter at heart, manifesting in a myriad of forms, while many monsters are tethered to a single image. The Jersey Devil transcends typical boundaries. One of its most notorious appearances resembles a gargoyle, a grotesque creature, characterized by a horse-like head and expansive bat wings, conjuring images of nightmares and dread. Altogether, it creates a chilling amalgam of an unexplained beast that has woven itself into the very fabric of folklore. This elusive entity has been shot at by a valiant hero of the American Revolution, encountered by none other than Napoleon Bonaparte's son, and it continues to evade capture even in modern times, leaving behind a trail of mystique and intrigue that keeps us ever seeking the truth. Perhaps the Jersey Devil's best-kept secret lies in its birthplace, the infamous Leeds family home. According to legend, this house serves as the wellspring of its power, a place to which the creature always returns. Tragically lost in a fire during the 1950s, the exact location of the house has become an enigma. Yet, the devil hunters firmly believe that if they can unearth the site, they may finally come face to face with the elusive being itself. With their gear packed and ready, night vision goggles and communication devices checked. The devil hunters venture into the darkness on a quest that promises to take them far into the night. And what about the supplies? They should still be stowed away in the trunk, waiting for action. Their initial expeditions had been painfully uneventful, grueling, tiresome, and all too often felt like wasted efforts. Determined to refine their approach, they shifted their focus. No longer would they simply meander into the woods. Instead, they aimed to gather valuable information, setting their sights on the house where the devil was said to have been born. They envisioned a treasure hunt for graves, an exploration of the area, and a true investigation instead of mindlessly wandering, hoping to catch a glimpse of the legendary creature. But something unsettling has transpired. The hunters sense they are now being hunted. Recent weeks have seen an alarming number of sightings reported, creeping closer to their own homes. The shadows of the Jersey Devil seem to follow them. Ever since they've begun delving deep into the heart of Leeds Point Woods, these eerie encounters have intensified, culminating in an unsettling pattern. One sighting for each of them in just the past week. The thrill of pursuit mingles with a rising tide of dread as they realize the monster is no longer just a legend. It now seems intimately connected to their lives. I'm a skeptic turned believer. That's the reality of it. Generally, I approach everything with a critical eye and demand proof of existence before I buy into any tale. But in recent weeks, that skepticism has been shattered. I've been confronted with undeniable evidence that the Jersey Devil is real. There is something out there, elusive yet undeniably present. I heard it again, the sounds of the night echoing through the darkness, a chilling cacophony that seemed to bring forth creatures lurking just beyond sight. Then came the tracks, a couple of strangely shaped footprints that definitely don't belong to any known animal. As I recorded the new tracks on video, it was disconcerting. It almost looked as though whatever had made them had stepped and then slid, leaving behind an unsettling imprint. Sean, with his analytical mind, scrutinized the tracks and noted that the gait didn't align with a deer's four-legged method. No, these prints appeared remarkably bipedal, reminiscent of a creature that walks like a human. The only certainty we had was that these tracks were fresh, a tangible sign of an otherworldly presence. And that's when a sense of unease began to creep in. We started questioning everything we ever thought we knew. We've heard the old Indian legends, tales of people mysteriously disappearing, claimed by a force that hunts beneath the cover of night. The chilling thought settled heavily in my mind. The Jersey Devil knows where you are. It watches, and it holds a sinister knowledge of our every move. The comfortable world of skepticism slowly crumbled, revealing a terrifying truth that gnawed at the edges of my consciousness. The logs look ancient. I guess how about over there, all right? All right, we've got a small clearing here. Watch your heads. Guys, it's going to be tight. Every sound feels amplified, ringing in the stillness of the night. You got it, yeah? Are we all in, yeah? I'm good, all right? Let's keep going. Lori, do you hear something? Yeah, I do. Have encountered the Jersey Devil screech a few times as a group. The descriptions vary, but everyone agrees. It sounds like machinery fused with the wail of a woman and the growl of an animal. It sent chills racing down my spine. Step as quietly as possible. It sounded exactly like everything I've ever heard described. Suddenly, a noise pierces the night. What was that? I'm sure it can sense fear instantly. We need to keep moving. We have to transverse the fence soon. I just saw something. Just a flash of red. Transverse the fence, I mean. What are we saving ourselves from? We haven't even gone back there, and now is really not the time, considering it's dark. I think it's back that way. No. My instinct tells me it's this way. My instinct says otherwise. It's that way. The tension builds as conflicting senses tug at them, each drawn by an unseen force, lost in the ominous murmur of the woods, uncertain of what lies ahead in the shadows. Nervous and disoriented, the hunters find themselves hopelessly lost in the depths of the woods, and an unsettling sensation washes over them. It's as if they're not alone. You know what, maybe I'll head that way, one suggests hesitantly, their instincts prickling with anxiety. It's moving with us, I can hear it. Did you really just see that tree shaking? Yeah, I definitely did. We have to come back here and investigate this more thoroughly. A shiver runs down their spines. It was just too freaky for me. I felt this cold wind brushing over my back, and I swear it felt like eyes were boring into me. Did you sense it the second time we ventured back in there? The weight of their fear hangs in the air, a palpable tension. Just remember, this is no ordinary creature. It's incredibly intelligent. It can track you, it can hunt you, and it knows whether you're here merely to observe or if you're approaching as an aggressive force intent on challenging it. The realization sinks in, amplifying their fear as they stand at the precipice of a confrontation with something that embodies both legend and terror. The woods close in around them, a realm where shadows twist into uncertainty, and every breath feels like an invitation to the unknown. All right, I'm seen. Yes, I can see a road. But was that noise in the bushes an encounter or not? This time, the hunt feels unnervingly close for everyone involved. Elusive as the devil is, its presence has lingered over the years, occasionally emerging from the depths of the forest to roam the back roads. They find themselves at one of its rumored favorite haunts, Stone Mansion, a ghostly relic of an iron mining town that dates back to the American Revolution. This is said to be the most commonly reported location of the Jersey Devil. It's likely that on countless nights, it is taken to the skies, circling this place. As they stand with bated breath, the weight of history bears down upon them. In January of 1909, the Jersey Devil allegedly left the Pine Barrens to wander the Delaware Valley, leaving a trail of footprints as it went. Hundreds of witnesses claimed to have seen it in towns across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And these weren't just fleeting glimpses of shadows in the night. The creature was described in vivid detail, its horse-like head, ominous wings, kangaroo legs, and a blood-curdling screech that pierced the stillness of the night. That terrifying combination of features has embedded itself in the minds of those who encountered it. The atmosphere thickens with anticipation. The hunters feel history and legend converge around them, and the prospect of meeting such a fearsome entity becomes a looming reality. A fire department once reported trapping, then hosing down a Jersey Devil found on the roof of a house near Philadelphia. A bewildering encounter that left the town in a frenzy of fear and disbelief. In New Brunswick and Trenton, trolley cars were outfitted with armed shotgun riders, wild tales of the creature making the rounds. Meanwhile, in Haddon Heights, a train was buzzed by the Jersey Devil, leaving passengers shaken and breathless, wide-eyed at the brush with a living legend. Desperate for more information, the hunters pursued a promising lead from a local historian, a tantalizing clue that directed them to the Smithville town graveyard. There, amid the crumbling stones shrouded in mystery, they hoped to uncover evidence of the historical figure behind the legend of the Jersey Devil. Their quest focuses on the grave of one Smith J. Leeds, the child some believe transformed into the winged demon that has haunted these woods and towns for generations. The air heavy with anticipation, they step into the graveyard, ready to confront whatever truths may lie unearthed. It was profoundly eerie when we finally found the tombstone. As we meandered through the cemetery, scanning for names and dates, I stumbled upon it. There it was, stark against the worn earth. Smith J. Leeds, 1890 to 1892. We nearly dropped the cameras in disbelief, the weight of that moment crashing over us like a cold wave. Back at the JD pub, it's time to regroup and process what we've discovered. The team emerges from Leeds Point, adrenaline still coursing through our veins, armed with a tantalizing new tip. A direct descendant of the Leeds clan has quietly offered insight into the elusive location of the family house. Now, with our target to the south of our first hunt, it's time to plot our strategy and embark on yet another treacherous hunt. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation, each of us acutely aware that the next chapter in our encounter with the Jersey Devil is about to unfold. Every time I feel a twinge of uncertainty about my passion for these investigations, my parents chime in with their jests, saying, "Oh, you're out there devil-worshipping, you know." It's frustrating. People just don't understand, but the more receptive individuals are to what I do, the more at ease I feel embracing this thrilling pursuit. Frank, that's Lee's phone. No, it's not Lee's phone. Watch out on the relentless hunt for the Jersey Devil. The lines between myth and fact blur effortlessly. But as the sun dips below the horizon the following evening, the team sets out once more, driven by a newfound clue that could bring them one step closer to unraveling the mystery of the creature's origin. They seek the fabled site of the devil's birth, a sacred ground where it is said the creature must inevitably return. Yet, the path remains shrouded in enigma, for the hunters have been misled by those unwilling to reveal the true location. Tension hangs heavy in the air as they prepare to navigate the shadows, aware that the stakes have never been higher than. The woods unveil a revelation. Do you see that? Take a look at the charred wood we found over here. Clear out that entrance for us, someone urges, urgency crackling in the air. It's the foundation of a house. The team's hearts race as they scan for signs of the charred remains, recalling how the original Leeds home had burned to the ground in the 1950s. Basically, the entire place. If you look closely, definitely burned at one point. Why don't you hop in there, Sean? See if you can get some video, another suggests, excitement tinged with trepidation. This is the Devil's Birth House. The evidence looks promising. A sense of awe envelops them as Sean gingerly steps closer. I just can't believe I'm standing in the foundation of the house, he whispers, a mix of disbelief and reverence washing over him. The hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. They are one step deeper into the heart of a legend that has haunted them for so long. Here into the shadows, someone urges, their voice barely above a whisper. Despite the devil remaining just out of reach, the team is imbued with an unwavering conviction that they're drawing closer by the second. It's only a matter of time before they uncover the truth. This legend has woven itself deeply into the fabric of our history, so much so that people genuinely believe a woman cursed her baby, birthing the Jersey Devil. And I'm compelled to uncover the reasons behind this enduring enigma. Why has it persisted for an astonishing 265 years? The Leeds family even claims to this day that the creature is a blood relative of theirs. I don't fully subscribe to those beliefs, yet I can't shake the feeling that something is indeed out there, lurking, waiting to be revealed. The intensity of the mystery calls to me, fueling an insatiable hunger for answers in the darkened woods surrounding us, and like it or not, that legend is indelibly etched into New Jersey's history. Honestly, I believe we gather more and more proof of the Jersey Devil's existence with each passing day. But the prospect of actually seeing the Jersey Devil, I think it might eventually come to pass. Personally, my view on the Jersey Devil is that it tries to remain hidden from all of us, fleeing from scrutiny, fighting to survive. It's a creature much like you and me, cast upon this earth, and we're all imbued with natural instincts to persevere. I genuinely believe that's what it's doing out there, somewhere, consumed by thoughts of survival amidst the shadows of the forest. The connection we share with it runs deeper than mere legend. It's a haunting echo of our own primal instincts, and the realization sends a chill down my spine as I contemplate the truth lurking beyond the veil of myth. For the devil hunters and the inhabitants of the Pine Barrens, the Jersey Devil is as tangible as the next blood-curdling shriek or the ominous flutter of wings slicing through the night air. This demon lingers like a shadow, refusing to fade into folklore, and until it is finally discovered, the relentless hunt will persist, driven by a ceaseless desire for the truth. Halfway around the world, other ancient legends walk the night, refusing to be forgotten. Britain boasts its own repertoire of phantoms and dragons, with tales of Loch Ness monsters and legendary carnivores that stalk the marshes. The Hound of the Baskervilles looms large in the psyche, a chilling reminder of what might exist just beyond the veil of the known. In recent decades, however, a new kind of monster has begun to traverse the hedgerows. The peculiar aspect of it all, this creature may very well be flesh and blood, and more terrifying still, it may possess the savage instinct to rip your throat out. The echoes of ancient myths merge with the palpable threat of reality, creating a world where the hunt for the unknown surges forth with greater urgency than ever before. We were driving along when suddenly we saw this massive creature disappearing into the hedge. A tail, at least 2 feet long, swung across my face. Hundreds of similar reports flood in, suggesting predators are indeed on the loose. Giant cats, perhaps some form of pumas or panthers. They've been sighted across the country, yet in an astonishing dismissal, the government insists they don't exist. Still, distinct patterns of big cat-sheep kills are emerging, providing mounting evidence that something is prowling in the shadows. I firmly believe that large cats roam freely in this country, and the evidence we've gathered so far indicates that a startling number of them inhabit the land. It's clear that the government prefers to ignore the truth. I suspect it will take a tragic incident, a killing, or a serious injury, before they finally sit up and take notice. Some enthusiasts speculate that the descendants of prehistoric Ice Age cats still linger in England. Others argue that Roman soldiers might have brought leopards with them during their conquest of Britain. Still, there are claims that these creatures were released or escaped during the 1970s, when the government began banning all dangerous captive animals, including those coveted by monster hunters, across the British Midlands. Is there something undeniably lurking out there, waiting to emerge from the depths of myth into the stark, blinding light of truth? David Spencer and his son Nigel run Panther Watch, dedicating much of their time to tracking reports like this one. Local policeman Dave Toon has recently joined the chorus of witnesses. These creatures have been spotted by police, zookeepers, and the RSPCA, he explains, recounting an encounter that still sends chills down his spine. I saw one approximately the size of a small fox in pursuit of a reported big cat sighting. Constable Toon was surveying the area when his keen eyes caught movement. He spotted a dark shape in the field as I lowered the binoculars and turned to my right. About 10 yards away was this big black cat. His heart raced as he assessed its size. It was substantially larger than a household cat, easily 2 to 3 times bigger. The creature turned its gaze toward him, an instinctual look of wariness, before sprinting away. As it ran, it moved in a loping manner, keeping its head very low and still to the ground, which undeniably evokes the characteristics of large black cats, like panthers. A sense of awe mixed with trepidation lingered in the air, underscoring the chilling reality that such predators may, indeed, be prowling just beyond the boundaries of our everyday life. Most sightings stem from reports made by the public who reach out to me, the local press, or the police, and those accounts are often relayed with disbelief. In the past, people might stroll into their local pub and proclaim, "I've seen a big cat," only to be met with laughter and skepticism. Pull the other one. But now, a palpable shift has occurred. Individuals no longer feel so intimidated. They know, without doubt, that these elusive creatures are very much a part of their reality. You know how a cat emits that deep, unsettling growl, the kind that rumbles deep within your core? I heard it, and I won't deny, it terrified me honestly. I couldn't conceive of anything else it could be, except for a big cat of some sort. The growing evidence is hard to ignore. Both scientists and the British government are clamoring for more proof. Webmaster Mark Henson posits a theory. I think it could be a cover-up for starters. The government may be intent on avoiding widespread panic among the general public. Then there's the unsettling matter of farmers' sheep being slaughtered and livestock left wounded. The implications linger heavily in the air, hinting at a truth that may be far more dangerous than anyone is willing to confront. Faced with the ire of angry sheep farmers and anxious citizens, the government would be compelled to orchestrate a massive big cat cleanup operation, one that could cost millions. It's going to be very, very expensive, Mark emphasizes, conviction lacing his words, and I think that's the main reason the government is choosing to ignore this issue for the time being. Sensational newspaper headlines surrounding a recent alleged attack on a boy in Wales have kept the topic of big cats firmly in the public eye, igniting questions about just how many of these creatures roam the countryside and how they are managing to navigate their surroundings unnoticed. So where could they possibly be coming from? David and Nigel have their theories. They believe these elusive creatures are traveling along abandoned railway lines. Over 150 years old, these hidden game trails present a natural allure for big cats. We've got a fantastic stretch here, probably 8 or 9 miles long, without a single house in sight, just an uninterrupted passage through the countryside. It's absolutely ideal for big cats to wander along, especially since it teems with rabbits along the embankments. The very thought sends a thrill through them, a mix of excitement and trepidation at the prospect of a world where such powerful predators could be thriving in the shadows just beyond their awareness. David and Nigel set off along one of the abandoned rail lines that thread toward Leicestershire, the neglected tracks taking on an ominous appearance As they meander through the landscape, a heavy silence envelops them, making it impossible to discern what truly lurks in the shadows surrounding them. David's meticulous research has unveiled a pattern that stretches down the rail lines and into the urban sprawly. A recent incident in the town of Summersby serves as a chilling reminder of the reality unfolding around them. It all began when a woman heard a noise, a raucous clatter, as something knocked over her garbage cans. Peering through the glass door, only a foot away at most, she was met with the imposing sight of a very large cat, standing over 2 feet tall as it rummaged through the dustbin it had toppled. From what we can gather, there are a substantial number of these animals thriving in the wild now, David asserts, his voice laden with urgency. It's not just a few, there's certainly a breeding population, and they appear to be increasing in numbers. The implications of their inquiries weigh heavily in the air, hinting at a world where humans might need to coexist with these primal hunters. Where will the cats strike next? Quentin Rose, a seasoned animal trapper for zoos and wildlife parks, has spent years attempting to ensnare a big cat in the British countryside. I studied zoology at Cardiff University, then became a zookeeper for 15 years, specializing in big cats and elephants, he shares, his eyes glinting with determination. Between zoo positions, he lived and traveled with the Cree and Chippewa Indians in northern Canada, absorbing invaluable lessons in tracking and trapping from their deep ancestral knowledge. I have identified 30 areas with consistently reliable sightings of leopards and 32 for pumas, he explains, the gravity of his words settling in. They're breeding in some of those locations, so I estimate that there are around 100 leopards and pumas currently prowling Britain. A sense of unease intertwines with his revelation, a stark reminder of the wild that could very well be just around the corner, lurking in the dense underbrush of the countryside. When we observe these majestic animals in a zoo, safely penned behind wire, we often exclaim, "Oh, what beautiful creatures!" But the moment that barrier falls away, they transform into beasts, monsters, things to be feared. This paradigm shift has played out dramatically over the last few decades. In 1963, police and troops were dispatched to hunt the notorious Surrey puma, a shadow stalking the countryside. Later, soldiers became embroiled in the pursuit of the elusive beast of Exmoor. And in the early 1990s, it was the terrifying presence of the beast of Bodmin Moor that sent shivers down the spines of the public. Quentin Rose possesses a markedly different perception and approach. What I've discovered is that if you set traps in areas where an animal has been spotted, they've usually moved on, rendering the effort futile, he remarks, his tone thoughtful. Instead, I've been busy mapping the movement patterns of the cats in the area so I can position traps ahead of them, increasing the chances of catching them as they traverse through. He gestures to the dense wood behind him, a landscape rife with potential. This wood has reported several sightings over the past few years, and there are a couple of specific spots where they've been noted repeatedly. That's precisely where I set my traps. His strategy underscores a relentless pursuit not just for capture, but for understanding the intricate tapestry of life that these creatures weave in their secretive, shadowy world. Yeah, there was a sighting here a couple of years ago where a woman was walking her dog along the fence. As she passed through the gate and glanced back, she spotted a leopard skirting along the fence right behind her. It caught her eye, then swiftly turned and darted through a gap in the hedge. It's the second time I've received reports of it using that gap, so it clearly knows it well and utilizes it. Armed with humane traps, Quentin is on a relentless mission to capture one of these elusive beasts alive before a wayward soul decides to take matters into their own hands, potentially with a gun, which could lead to disastrous consequences for humanity. Taking one on with a shotgun is likely to result in a lethal encounter within fractions of a second, he warns gravely. I've worked with these cats my entire adult life. I've been mauled by a leopard, and I've lost 3 friends to big cat attacks. I know their speed and the raw power they wield. Quentin has meticulously investigated several sheep kills, shedding light on the terrifying prowess of these big cats. While dogs, badgers, and foxes may account for some of the scenes of carnage, they do so in distinctly recognizable ways. Cats, however, strike with lethal efficiency, killing with a single throat bite. There'll be claw lacerations and typical impact injuries where they've made contact with a paw. He explains, his voice steady yet laced with urgency. This next injury confirms it was a big cat attack. He gestures toward the evidence, showcasing the massive puncture wounds, characteristic of a classic big cat kill, an undeniable mark that Quentin and others believe constitutes the best proof of a big cat presence thriving in Fey, English countryside. Where are the big cats lurking now? Armed only with his camera, Mark Henson is on a quest to gather photographic evidence for his website, standing at the site of a recent big cat attack, nestled in an ancient churchyard. I've probably gotten a bit too obsessed with it, he admits, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. I used to have these vivid dreams where I was being stalked by an animal deep in the woodlands. I would wake up in a cold sweat, heart racing, certain that a cat was coming for me. Mark believes that the first leopards made their way here with the Romans, and he gestures to 200-year-old reports, including the infamous Devonshire hoofprints, as evidence that these majestic creatures have inhabited the land far longer than most people realize. On a snowy morning in the early 1800s, the townspeople of Devon reported strange footprints crisscrossing the streets and climbing onto rooftops, stretching for miles into the countryside. The locals, gripped by fear, speculated that it must be the devil himself. But Mark attributes the phenomenon to a more earthly origin, hinting at a history intertwined with the very fabric of the British wilderness. What I think it was is possibly cougars at the time. The gentry, the lords of the manor, kept cougars as pets, Mark hypothesizes, his eyes glinting with a mix of curiosity and conviction. Most sightings occur during daylight, revealing these elusive big cats in fields, along trails, or crossing highways, with some even caught on tape. A recent photograph taken by a man in Rutland appears to showcase a large black panther gracefully traversing a farmer's field, igniting both intrigue and concern among locals. But can we truly trust our eyes while capturing footage of police Constable Dave Toon's encounter? Our camera crew caught a glimpse of what looked like a black panther at the far end of the field. I don't know. It looks quite big when it goes sideways. One crew member comments, an edge of skepticism lingering in his voice. It was a little off, another interjects, shaking his head. That was definitely, even from this distance, just a household cattle. But the one I had seen was distinctly more cat-like, possessing a sleek, elongated form that exuded a sense of purpose, a creature that was all business, not to be confused with the domestic pretend of our everyday lives. So-called big cat sightings must be scrutinized meticulously, as Quentin Rose discovered while probing an army report about a big cat allegedly prowling the edge of a military camp. What ultimately showed up in his trap was far from the menacing giant everyone had anticipated. Sir Tabby, he quips, recalling the moment with an incredulous chuckle. All too often, people mistake black domestic cats or even black Labradors for their more formidable counterparts. One baffled witness even reported an encounter with what turned out to be a black plastic bag dancing in the wind. So now there are some very specific signals to watch for, Quentin explains, his voice tinged with seriousness. If it looks promising from that angle, then I will head out and investigate further, ready to uncover the truth behind the myths and half-seen shadows lurking in the night. Evidence of the phantom big cats remains steeped in mystery, particularly when it comes to bodies. Why have no dead panthers ever surfaced on the motorways? One startled driver reported witnessing a large animal he believed to be a big cat being dragged off the side of the road and into the back of a van by a group of men. Chances are they were probably something to do with the government, he speculates, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. Allegedly something to do with the government conspiracy or not. Each day seems to bring forth more unsettling big cat sightings, however sketchy and hard to authenticate. And what about the public? Well, they remain in a state of flux, still weighing the evidence. No, we don't have a puma's body at the moment, but as the police have pointed out to us, if they had accumulated enough eyewitness accounts of panther and puma sightings just in Leicestershire and Rutland, they would have convicted a murderer at least 20 times over. That's been stated, they assert, highlighting the confusion that pervades the air, ripe with uncertainty and intrigue. So far, accounts of attacks on people have been few and elusive, hard to pin down in their detail and legitimacy. Hunters believe these animals are most often harmless, yet Quentin Rose feels a mounting worry. As the numbers of reported sightings increase and more encounters unfold, he knows it's not a matter of if people will be killed. It's a matter of when, and thus the enigmatic British big cat mystery lingers on. Until one finally turns up in Quentin's trap, the relentless search will continue in stark contrast. They don't have leopards roaming the Puerto Rican jungle. Nothing fast and mean stirs within those depths, yet something hungry is prowling. The locals in the nearby villages insist that it isn't a big cat terrorizing them, but rather a blood-sucking creature, one that has been attacking their livestock for years. To this day, they live in a state of dread, haunted by its terrifying nighttime visits. The chupacabra eats everybody. The chicken, nobody got chicken over there, they lament. Their fear palpable as they recount tales of horror that keep them awake at night. I have personally investigated between 250 to 300 attacks on animals attributed to the chupacabra. Well-documented reports of this elusive creature began to emerge here in the 1990s and quickly spread across Latin America. But the original tales trace back centuries. Indian legends recount the existence of a mosquito man, a figure who invaded their villages and brought dread in his way. Speculation about a demonic presence may very well stem from the Indian migration to this island centuries ago. As they settled here to worship the gods of the mountains, they named this land Borican, hoping to communicate with the lords of the sky. Yet, alongside their reverence, they lived in constant fear of nights when terrifying monsters roamed the countryside, searching for something or someone to devour. For 500 years, the evil spirits of Puerto Rico lay in wait, biding their time until the terror of the chupacabra was finally unleashed upon the land. Over the past decade alone, hundreds of reported sightings and documented attacks have erupted across Puerto Rico, rippling outwards from Mexico to Costa Rica. With each incident, both media attention and public fear swell to new heights. Some dismiss it as nothing more than a classic ghost story, while others insist that there's more lurking beneath the surface. Demon, flesh and blood creature, or mere mass hysteria. One thing is certain: animals across the island are meeting their end in a remarkably unusual manner. This elusive beast emerges only under the cover of night, choosing to strike a select number of its victims at a time. It will pause to feast on one before continuing its grim pursuit, leaving behind a trail of fear and confusion in its wake as the locals wonder how to protect themselves from the darkness. Monster hunters Bob Buck, Joyce Murphy, and her intrepid group have come to Puerto Rico to seek out eyewitness accounts and gather chilling stories about the creature, known in Spanish as the goat sucker, the chupacabra. Reptilian-looking terror that some claim has been attacking animals with an alarming frequency in recent years. It's not an animal I'd recommend provoking, Bob warns, his voice heavy with concern. Anything capable of bringing down a healthy 1,500-pound bull, running it down and killing it, would send most people into a panic. I don't think anyone would truly want to come face to face with such a beast. Searching for the chupacabra in its natural habitat is one approach to uncovering fresh evidence. But Bob and the team of amateur cryptozoologists are banking on finding most of what they seek among the recent sighting reports scattered throughout rural villages. Personally, I neither believe nor disbelieve in the chupacabra, Bob confesses, a thoughtful furrow creasing his brow. I trust that the people claiming to have seen this creature aren't lying, aren't crazy, and certainly aren't drunk. Illusions don't kill animals. After all, it's definitely a creature. And once you acknowledge that reality, then you sift through the evidence to uncover what this creature might truly be. To uncover the truth, Bob and Joyce must venture deep into the heart of Puerto Rico. Following dozens of encounters recounted by farmers and policemen in the mid-90s, a myriad of theories has emerged surrounding the chupacabra, ranging from bizarre mutations to the possibility of a sinister government genetic experiment unleashed upon the unsuspecting populace. The sizable U.S. military presence in the region has only fueled these enigmatic stories, casting a shadow of doubt and intrigue over the legend why Taino's sacred mountain, now a nature preserve, looms alongside an impressive array of aircraft control towers, its serene facade hiding secrets beneath gray. The area is said to house top-secret underground labs and classified experiments, sparking the imagination of those curious about the chupacabra's origins. Some theorize that this fearsome creature was genetically engineered in these clandestine facilities, a nightmarish fusion of alien, human, and military DNA. Did it escape? Or was it deliberately allowed to roam free? A living experiment to observe how people would react in an isolated, contained setting like Puerto Rico. Bob, Joyce, and their intrepid group, known as Beyond Boundaries, embark on a global quest for strange, unexplained phenomena. For 10 relentless days, they are on a mission to explore every theory surrounding the chupacabra, no matter how radical or far-fetched. There's no denying the chilling physical evidence. Throughout Puerto Rico, domestic animals, ranging from vulnerable rabbits to colossal 1,500-pound bulls, have fallen victim to these gruesome attacks. In pursuit of answers, the group investigates a recent incident and journeys to a village nestled at the edge of the rainforest. One fateful night, unsettling rattling noises echo through the air. They find cages bent and twisted, some containing animals with gaping wounds at their necks, while others lie motionless on the ground. The remaining rabbits, still trapped in their cages, bear signs of a sinister struggle, as if something unseen was pulling them into the night. Wicks on rabbits are not uncommon, explains a local man, recounting his chilling experience to the nearby TV crew. He believed he spotted something lurking near his rabbit cages, and when he approached, he caught it off guard. It was a creature with large, glowing eyes that perfectly matched the descriptions of the chupacabra. Towering at 4 to 5 feet high, with remarkably powerful hind legs and the uncanny ability to glide through the air, the chupacabra embodies nightmares. Its method of attack is even more horrifying, leaving behind 1 or 2 small entry wounds made with surgical precision, turning the organs of its prey into Swiss cheese. As local veterinarian Carlos Soto examines the damage inflicted by this enigmatic creature, he is struck by the small, cauterized wounds he has never encountered before. My theory is that this creature possesses some type of organ or system that allows it to flexibly search for different organs once it pulls in its prey, he surmises, a hint of unease creeping into his voice. Across the island at sites like this, residents are staggered by the chilling precision of the wounds they observe. Cages bear no signs of disarray typical of a cat or dog attack, and though this chicken displays numerous small puncture holes, there is an eerie absence of blood around the dead animal's wounds. In a neighboring community, a woman recounts the tragic demise of her dog, killed in a similarly harrowing manner, its neck riddled with tiny surgical punctures. Now, her heart races with fear for the safety of the children in her neighborhood, consumed by the dread of what lurks in the shadows. In search of new evidence, the group returns to meet with Jose Bataglia, assistant to Kimo Soto, the mayor of Canavanas, the very site of the first recorded chupacabra attack. Since 1995, unsettling reports have poured in from Canavanas, detailing the chupacabra's eerie landings on rooftops, ghostly flights past windows, and vicious assaults on unsuspecting animals. It is said that local policemen have fired shots at this elusive beast, only to witness the bullets ricochet harmlessly off its hide. The mayor, a self-styled Indiana Jones, has staked his political future on a bold promise to rid the town of this terrifying creature once and for all. I requested assistance from the police, civil defense, and the National Guard because, as mayor, my primary concern is the safety of the population, he declares with determination. I organized an expedition aimed at capturing the chupacabra. I want to solve this problem. His eyes blaze with urgency, reflecting both his resolve and the mounting pressure of his promises. Over several years, Mayor Soto's civil defense team has launched numerous expeditions into the treacherous jungles of El Yunque, often using goats as bait in their relentless pursuit. Team members reported strange odors and bizarre footprints, yet each expedition returned empty-handed as the chupacabra continued its reign of terror. This is where it's at. The gentleman we're going to interview, Bob, inquires, his curiosity piqued. What's the truth lurking behind these chilling attacks? The group quickly heads to the site of a very recent incident, an urgent urgency in their footsteps. Most of the carcasses have been hastily disposed of, but Bob is determined to sift through the remnants, hoping to discern whether this is a genuine attack or part of a larger pattern of hoaxes. The caretaker recounts the eerie details of how his roosters met their demise. In other words, he used his claws to grip them, and eventually, he would sometimes sever their necks clean off, he explains, his voice trembling with the weight of fear. Okay, could you tell if it was maybe 2 or 3 talons or something like that? Or can you how many? How many? The caretaker nods gravely, revealing puncture wounds at the base of the neck. That is a classical attack by the chupacabra, Bob declares, a chill racing up his spine as the pieces of this dark puzzle begin to align. The world is on the brink of believing in the existence of the chupacabra, and Bob knows he needs hard evidence to tip the scales of skepticism. With a racing heart, he sets up video surveillance near the sites of recent sightings, aware that the elusive creature could be lurking just a leap away. An unsettling thought that sends a shiver down his spine. The chupacabra is primarily a nocturnal predator, slinking through the shadows as it conducts its chilling business under the cover of darkness. I do believe the government has captured this creature, he asserts, conviction clashing with anxiety. I believe they know far more than they're letting on. His voice lowers to a conspiratorial whisper. It seems there is a suppression of information, but just because they have it doesn't mean we will ever gain access to it. The weight of these possibilities hangs heavy in the air, a potent mix of anticipation and dread. A local guides the group to a site adorned with ancient Indian petroglyphs depicting enigmatic alien figures, setting the stage for a haunting connection to the past. Taino Legans whisper of this place as a realm of ancient contact between men and the gods, a powerful narrative that intertwines history and mystery. Today, however, the area is plagued by an astonishing number of strange incidents within the El Preserve, including bizarre UFO sightings and eerie lights flickering above the mist-shrouded mountains. At one nearby chupacabra attack site, a woman recounts with wide eyes how her father recently spotted a flying saucer rising into the sky above the LUK rainforest. With UFOs and chupacabras weaving together two threads of such perplexing phenomena, ends an intriguing puzzle for Beyond Boundaries president, Joyce Murphy. It's something to do with UFOs and aliens, she speculates, her brow furrowing with thought. Maybe it's like a pet or some kind of alien hybrid, because this creature is usually reported before, during, or after UFO appearance. You know, within the same hour, there'll be a UFO sighting. Or people will have seen chupacabras before or after. It has happened many times that way. Her words hover in the air, igniting a mix of excitement and apprehension within the group as they piece together these extraordinary connections. Aliens and monsters. It's a hard pill to swallow beneath the bright light of day, yet, across Puerto Rico, there are those, city officials included, who firmly believe in the existence of these phenomena. We know for sure that the chupacabra must be something strange, something entirely foreign to this world. Maybe it's from outer space, or perhaps a visitor from another planet, but we are not certain. However, I believe that the government is hiding something, one official confesses, a flicker of concern evident in his eyes. To unravel this mystery, the team delves straight into the heart of El Preserve, the epicenter of the sightings. Here, they seek out the official response. As the manager of this reserve, I can confirm that we have documented sightings of chupacabras, he states firmly, his voice steady despite the gravity of the topic. You know, I spent most of my childhood in the foothills of this mountain, so I know this forest very well. We operate here 24 hours a day, almost 360 days a year, and nobody can substantiate any of those claims. This is not an illusion, this is real. What it is, I don't know, but the fear these people feel is palpable. It has killed a lot of animals, and I don't see any purpose for them to concoct such stories. The weight of his words lingers in the air, heightening the group's sense of urgency and determination to uncover the truth. It's no surprise that some residents of Puerto Rico find themselves preoccupied with the concept of aliens. After all, the island is home to America's SETI program and the colossal Arecibo radio telescope, famously featured in the film Contact. And since the 1970s, they've been listening intently for signals from outer space, each pulse and whisper adding to a growing tapestry of intrigue. The team now travels inland to Arecibo, guided by a tip from an unlikely source. Reports have surfaced that a group of remote viewers and clairvoyants has claimed to witness chupacabras actually sliding down the cables of the telescope itself. As the mission spirals into increasingly bizarre territory, the details only grow stranger. Some of the remote viewers produced sketches depicting these elusive creatures, suggesting that they may have captured one alive. Yet, another remote viewer insists that a chupacabra was actually killed. "We need to investigate that further," Bob asserts, a mixture of excitement and trepidation surging through him as they press on into the unknown. A discussion with the scientific head of the visitor center serves to ground the team, if only momentarily. "Do you believe that, like they say about the chupacabra, these creatures are probably just wild dogs? I mean, do you have any kind of take on this?" Bob asks, seeking clarity amidst the chaos of rumors. "Oh yes. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in it at all," the scientist replies, his tone unwavering. "I see the chupacabra as nothing more than a legend that people have latched onto, but there's no credible evidence to support its existence. When people analyze the so-called evidence, it's just fate." His dismissive stance adds an unsettling tension to the air, leaving the group to ponder whether they are delving deeper into truth or mere fantasy. Despite facing resistance, the group presses on, undeterred. They scan the perimeter of the dish and speak to the workers, eager for any scrap of information. Yet, their search for the chupacabra at Arecibo yields no new leads, and the alien chupacabra connection remains as elusive and cloudy as ever. "I'm nuts, I'm sure. But it doesn't bother me at all," Bob chuckles, a hint of wild enthusiasm in his eye. "Really? Everybody in the world has their own form of craziness. I'm a monster hunter. I don't want to hurt him, though I just want to see what he is. I'd love to feel him," his voice tinged with excitement, he adds. "I'm a very tactile person. If I met the chupacabra, I don't think I would be too afraid to walk up and actually get hold of him, just feel him, see what he's made of." His words hang in the air, a daring blend of curiosity and wonder, as they contemplate the reality of the creature that has captured their imaginations. Gathering at the southern tip of Puerto Rico alongside fellow paranormal enthusiasts, the team concludes their journey just as they began, mystified yet eager for the unknown. "I think it is possible we may find a chupacabra," Bob reflects, his eyes sparkling with possibility. "But it's like the UFO phenomenon. A lot of people believe they exist, but to actually state that they do or do not, that's a personal quest for everyone." His words resonate, weaving a thread of shared intrigue and passion among those gathered. Whether one perceives it as local wildlife, an extraterrestrial being, or merely a figment of mass hysteria, perhaps only one thing remains certain. Until a chupacabra's body is uncovered, relentless monster hunters like Bob will forge ahead, driven by the tantalizing promise of the unknown. Although our world has grown smaller, countless scientific mysteries still linger just beyond the edge of our experience. The strange tales and shadowy fears beckon us back time and again, dragging us into the darkness on an unending hunt. A quest filled with both trepidation and fascination, where the unknown holds an irresistible allure.